joining me tonight is Mama K.
Hi, everybody.
And tonight we're doing Honk for Jesus, Save Your Soul.
Honk for Jesus, praise the Lord, save your soul.
It is a movie that is on Peacock and it's in theaters. They did dual release, so take your pick. You can do either. I did Peacock because it is actually free. So
I also did Peacock.
I think Peacock it's free most stuff, and then like you have to pay $10 for like pretty much everything, and it's quite a bit. And I don't know if we still have it. We paid for it at some point. I don't know if we still have it, but.
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
I don't know if it's on premium or not. Now that I think about it, but I don't think so. I think it's just free.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, or you can go see it at the movies where it's not free. So.
In the aftermath of a huge scandal, Trinity Childs, the first lady of a prominent Southern Baptist megachurch, attempts to help her pastor husband, Lee Curtis Childs, rebuild their congregation. It's hour 42. It's 72% on Rotten Tomatoes, but 26 with the audience. And
wow, weird.
5.3 on IMDb. I don't think it's that weird, and we will talk about why in spoilers.
Rotten Tomatoes 73%?
70. Oh, that's the part that surprised you. Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if you haven't seen it, that's where you see it, and that's what it's about, and those are what people are giving it. So now we are going to do that part. So, spoilers ahead, and spoilers now.
Yeah.
So, it's a mockumentary, which I does not really know, mostly. There's a couple of shots that are clearly not mockumentary, but we can talk about that later. But for the most part, it's a mockumentary, and it's following around. Really, Regina Hall is the main character, Trinity Childs, and Sterling K. Brown's her husband, Lee Curtis Childs. The whole movie follows them, and they had a megachurch. They were big timers. If anyone watches like Righteous Gemstones on HBO, like it's that kind of family. If you're not familiar with megachurches, they're
what
Walmart.
Show did you just reference?
Righteous Gemstones on HBO Max.
Righteous Gems. I thought you said racist gemstones.
No, not racist gemstones. I don't know if that show. I don't think strange. That's a show. Righteous Gemstones on HBO Max.
Righteous. Okay.
It's similar to that. It's like a televised like giant Walmart room of a church, and then the pastors are like all over the top, and there's like bands and comedians and all in all Christian-y kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah, they lose out on their church, and we find out the scandal unfolds. We find out that the pastor grooms young men. Not surprising in church things. That's happened in all kinds of church things. He grooms young men. He's closeted, I guess, and predatory. And there's another like rival, younger mega church people that is on their way up, and we see from them, and it's all following the Childs trying to resurrect their church for a big return, and
on Easter Sunday.
On Easter Sunday, if they're going to be successful.
That's right.
Well, maybe the Sunday before.
Maybe right.
What'd you think for Honk for Jesus, Save Your Soul?
So I don't mind this kind of mockumentary at all. I think there are people who really don't like it, and then there are people who really, really love it. I kind of fall in the middle, which I don't think there's a whole lot of that. Like, I just think it's kind of interesting. It's good when they're well done, but this is squidgy. This movie makes you cringe. I mean, you probably figured that out, that this is a super cringeworthy movie for me. I'm
gonna have to you have to point out some moments that you can try to recall, right? Because this is not what I thought. I didn't think you would think this is cringy.
Really? Did you?
I thought you'd think it's not great.
Bad?
It's not like super funny, but it's not. I don't think it's like. It's just kind of like a boring mockumentary. I thought, but I'm hijacking your part.
Yeah, but I think there's actually some good acting behind it that makes it cringy for me, and especially Regina Hall. I don't really know her.
You're saying because they're good at doing what they're doing. It's making you cringe.
She made me cringe so much because I thought she was really good at what she was doing. I mean, the role of these long-suffering women in these either real-life megachurches or this kind of mockumentary style situation, or even some of the, I'm sure that there's like Bravo shows like this, or maybe not Bravo, but something like a Bravo, where there's shows like this, and the women just tend to have to put up with so much, and everything gets poured into their family if they have one, and if they don't, it gets poured into like their Prada and their Louboutins and just going to the store. And that's what this woman was all about. I mean, she was all about shopping her pain away from this marriage, and she was really good at it. I did you not think that? Did you not think that she
No,
was
I thought they were both
long suffering?
No, I think both the leads and Regina Hall carries, but like they're both really good.
Yeah.
But I kind of like it more towards the second half, because the first half is like it's like a not really funny mockumentary, because it's a comedy. It's a dark comedy is what this comedy drama here is what it says. And it's, you know, it's supposed to be lampooning these situations, but then when it gets to the last, like, I don't know, half hour, it's not funny at all. It's really actually like sad. Like, I feel really sad for like what's happening. And like,
yeah,
and that's when I'm like actually kind of enjoying it as a tragedy, because I like tragedies. Like, it's an underserved genre where like things go horribly and things end bad, and like that is the arc of the story. That's underserved, so I do appreciate that, and that's the kind of part of the movie that worked for me. But it's not very funny. The jokes aren't that good, so like everything around it takes a while to kind of get to that conclusion, because and I think
comedy is not what I would think of as for this. This is not a comedy for
no, but it feels like
all.
It's trying to be. It feels wink and naughty, like The Office or a Christopher Guest movie. It feels like you're supposed to be in on something, but it's not. But the humor doesn't work. What works for me is the tragedy.
Yeah, I don't know that it's supposed to be humorous. Even if it says that it's supposed to be a comedy drama, I really don't feel like it's supposed to be humorous at all, because I can't think that this movie missed the mark by that much. I mean, anything that approaches 72%, being,
you know,
critically, anything that almost approaches comedy is just so goddamn sad that it can't be comedy. When they're outside toward, I guess probably 2/3 of the way, maybe 3/4 of the way through, and they're outside trying to get people to come to their church, and she is dressed so ridiculously. That's not funny in the slightest, and it's
sad, but I kind of as it gets sadder and more pathetic, I'm like, it starts to grow on me. I start to like, I mean, these people are portrayed as they're terrible, they're phonies, they're manipulative, They only care about themselves, as do their competitors, and they've just been beat out because the dude fucked up, because the Sterling K. Brown fucked up. So now Regina Hall has to pick up the pieces, but she's terrible. They're both awful, but just watching them be so miserable and just drag. And by the end, it's like a Blue Jasmine-y kind of ending that I really like. And we'll talk about that, but like, oh, it's so... like when she runs into the former person at the mall, that's supposed to be like a funny Office joke where like Michael Scott says something inappropriate and upsets a client. That's the same kind of thing that this is supposed to be. Oh, she sees the old congregant person at the hat store, and then they have their showdown. Like, but it's not funny.
Bless your heart showdown.
Yeah, it's like I get like that's supposed to be funny, but like I'm like it's just kind of sad, and it kind of hurts to watch a little bit in a way I kind of enjoy.
See, that maybe that's the reason why it's got all these low scores, because it is supposed to be funny. I did not think any of it was supposed to be funny, to be honest with you. I thought that there's no way that people could be this bad at writing comedy, and these two people were doing such a good job as these characters. I can't believe that if it was supposed to be a comedy that they couldn't sell it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think it was comedically written for them. It just I don't know, it just it feels like did you see Eyes of Tammy Faye?
No, I did not. And I
think that might have helped, but but this just watching this movie feels like watching Sunday morning television back like when I was a teenager, because this is the kind of stuff that was on all the time. Like these,
but like the real version of this, not like
the real version of this, which also is not funny. It's not. There's nothing funny about it.
It's a little.
There's nothing funny about this.
The real version is a little funny. Like what?
It's not, because it's so ridiculous and
well, we should say you and we are not particularly religious. We don't go to church, so this
we're not. But I don't think you have to be. I think you have to be gullible. It's more important to be gullible than it is to be religious when it comes to these situations.
I know, but like it's such a large. There's so many people. They're so huge. Like they're like surely like that's.
Yeah, I know, but.
But that's what's the funny part. But that's the funny part is that many people do it, and that the people at the top are probably like this, and that's why it has those low scores. It doesn't have. This is like to me like a 56 is what we were doing a guessing game, I'd say this is a 56 on Rotten Tomatoes. 26% is half the people who watch it and like are like watching it like actually like we are and like kind of shrugging like that, and then the other half of people watching it think it's God's Not Dead or something because it's called Honk for Jesus Save Your Soul, and it's on the cover is the two of them sitting on a throne, and it looks like a fun little happy comedy, and then they go in and it's a mockumentary completely like making fun of their faith and making fun of people in the church and making fun of the people who go to these things, and I think they review bombed. Absolutely.
Do you think this is just a movie that shouldn't have been made? Like it didn't have... There was no way it was going to garner the right audience.
No, I think if this was funnier, it would be good. Like, or if it was funnier, it would be good. Or if it was even like more like dark and sad, it would be good. Like, it's just kind of. It's just not like it just needs some punching up. I think the story is not particularly like original. Like this is church people. The top of the church are frauds and they're literally touching little like boys. Like that's how original. Like no, of course, like it's been done before.
Right.
But like you can it ain't broke. You can still make that funny or super dark and like sad. And yeah, I think no matter if this were really good. It'd probably have like a 94% on Rotten Tomatoes and then like a 46 on the audience score because the people who saw
it. Why does it have in the 70s on Rotten Tomatoes then? Critics are liking this?
Yeah, I mean but it's not like way higher than I would have guessed. Like I'm probably at like a 2.5 for this, which is probably not like a recommend for me, but like. Right. I could see being I'm almost on the fence with it. I had some okay times with it. It's also it has the lean like Hollywood tends to be anti-religion. So if you're gonna have a few extra points on the margins, 72 seems reasonable.
Yeah, but this movie is 100% anti-religion. So even though it's a religious movie,
I know that's why it's got the points. That's why it's got a bump in the critical score. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Right. I guess I don't hate it as much as you. I don't think I think this is like a 56.
No, I don't hate this movie. I just don't think that. I don't think if it was supposed to be funny, it 100% missed the mark. I don't believe it was supposed to be funny. I think it was just supposed to be what it was. And
it's written, directed by Adamo Ebo, and she's made it a comedy. Like it's called a comedy. It's. I know you did think it was funny, but that was the intent of the art was to be a comedy.
Oh, well, that missed it for me because it was just so. I don't know. I mean, I lived in the South for a while and I saw a lot of mega churches and it's a very serious business. I mean, very serious business. And
have you known anyone personally who goes to these things? I don't. Most people my age that I know are particularly religious and the ones who would never go to this. So,
there is someone in our family that did leave a sum of money to one of these things.
Oh, I can't wait to find out who it was. It's not going to mean anything to anyone listening, but like I want to know for my own personal. It was great grandma blah blah. Like no one's going to care about that. So
no, it was a surprise when we found out. It wasn't like a crazy sum of money, but it was still like why.
But they kept it hidden. Does that mean they were aware that it was kind of shameful and but they were like couldn't help it, like, or were they like?
I don't think so. I think it was just. I think that's just what happened. But, yeah, I didn't dislike this movie. That's the thing, is I didn't dislike it, but it was very uncomfortable for me to watch. I felt really, this movie develops, you don't know what the problem is. You don't know what he's done. And it develops as the movie goes along. You find out what's happening,
Right.
and then you see it happening, in front of your eyes, and you believe it 100% by the time, you're finished with the movie. And just the long suffering life of this woman who probably came from a really religious family. She married into this really religious family.
Yeah.
She's 100% stuck in this. And even though she goes and buys
she got corrupted
a $4,000.
You think she probably got corrupted a lot. You don't get the sense that she was always like this. You see like moments of her being like cracking and being like, cut, like I'm in too deep and I just have to,
yes,
at sunk cost, like I just have to keep burying. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I think that you can't not become that person, or, and there are times in the movies where you just see her emptiness and you see that she's a shell of a person. And it's just so sad for me. Like I don't know.
Oh, that's why it's good. That's the stuff that works. That's the stuff that makes me like kind of turn around. It is the stuff that works
in this movie, and I think, and I know I'm supposed to be feeling those kind of things, and that's fine and everything, but it just makes me feel that way. It doesn't. So that's what keeps it from being something different than like a Best in Show or something like that. That's No,
it's not a cute, quirky comedy. It's
not a feel good. There's nothing feel good about this. And there are a couple, and she really does get the heavy hitting scene. She gets the one where she is with a former congregant, and they have it out. And that's a really good scene, actually, with a lot of bless your heart kind of situations going on. And I really thought they were going to start snatching wigs at some point, but they didn't. And that's to the credit of this movie. And then when they're outside trying to get people to come into their church, and she's confronted by that woman with the baby, and that woman is just cursing at her left and right. And, she takes it for a long, long time. And then she finally kind of loses it a little bit, and she just has to do all the heavy lifting in this. And Sterling K. Brown just has to like go on, just like everything else. He's allowed to go on with his life and do whatever, I feel like he's going to be
the character, you mean?
Yes. Yeah. Not Sterling K. Brown as a person.
But yeah. And if we go towards like the last scene I really liked, he's very sad at the very end when, all right, so the whole thing, all right, so at the end, all going towards Easter Sunday, right? That's going to be their big comeback. That's what all this whole time they're advertising, they're getting the word out, trying to get everyone to come back. And then they meet with the new popular megachurch, the young people. They do their negotiation, and they're like, we're going to have Easter Sunday. We're not moving it, bless your heart, all that crap. So they're going to move theirs 1 week up so that they have a better shot at, it's kind of like movies when they compete with each other in the box office, move up a week.
Trying to get their people back. Yeah.
Yeah. Avoid the MCU movie, avoid the whatever movie, and move it up. So that's what they do. And then unbeknownst to them, the other couple have also moved their day up strategically. Again, doesn't really work in a real world context. It's shocking they didn't find that out at some point, considering they're going after the same population. Not really good recon on their part, but all right, fine. But it leads to Sterling K. Brown standing next to Regina Hall. She's empty. She's returned to shell self, and he's like muttering to himself. I love crazy muttering. It's the same thing at the end of Blue Jasmine with Kate Blanchett. He's just like, yes, sir, they've come to me. They're coming to see me.
Yep.
That's right. Lee Curtis. Coming, and he's just, and then it's just like panning over to Regina Hall and slowly like kind of coming in on her. And I'm just like, oh my God. It's almost worth it for that alone. It's almost worth it for the conclusion. And the guy's doing donuts in the parking lot. It's just so pathetic. That's some good pathetic juice. I thoroughly enjoyed that.
It's so sad. And the thing is, like this new young couple, that was them, 25 years ago or 30 years ago or whatever. And the same thing is going to happen to this new this fresh new couple is going to become these people at some
Probably,
point.
yeah. I don't even really think about
for
them,
one reason or another.
yeah.
Oh yeah, I totally think about that. That, I'm like, oh, we're seeing them. This is them removed 25 years, and this is what they were like in the very beginning. And there's a good possibility that she was, a bit of the ringleader and making sure that he was like, yeah, you're the man, and you're going to do this, and and so he believes it so much that he's still muttering about it. In an empty parking lot. The muttering is so good. It's empty church.
So wonderful.
Yeah, he's good. He's good.
Okay, gosh, about Blue Jasmine for a second, because it's just like when you're just like a regular person and you're walking around and everything's fine, but all of a sudden you look disheveled and you start muttering, and like and then you're just done. Like you're just like that's good. Like where are you gonna go back to? It's like I don't know. It starts it's the crazy cracking. It's just like the creating of a
the spiral.
Yeah, I don't know. It's very enjoyable. That stuff is enjoyable to watch. It sounds like I like this more than I thought I did, but I really didn't enjoy watching it that much. I just kind of like that part in retrospect. But
I did enjoy watching it, and it's different. It's not something. I mean, we sometimes watch a lot of movies that are pretty formulaic, and
sure do.
It's kind of hard to discern one from another, or we make decisions based on certain criteria, and this is different. This is just a little bit of difference, and as much as I was like, it made me. It
doesn't have a lot going on. It's not like
has a lot going on. There's a lot of wardrobe. There's a lot of stuff like that. A lot of color.
It doesn't poke as hard as it could.
I'm surprised by I feel like these people usually have like a pretty good support system. And I guess maybe we come to this story after that's kind of fallen away a little bit because of the allegations. I'm not sure, but there's not really... I guess
we're supposed to believe that like they were they were not defended. They were abandoned, I guess. Yeah. Like they were turned on by all. Like, there's always another place to flock to, I guess, when somebody falls, but they also don't seem... maybe they were difficult to deal with. It seems like that's a real possibility.
That they were difficult to deal with. That he really did not hide his... Yeah, and with her especially, he did not hide his proclivities very well. Like he, didn't want to have sex with her unless she was in front of him, and he didn't want to look at her face, and it was like...
See, that's that's part of the funny part, right? But it's
not funny. Like, it's sad as hell.
It's not funny, and it accumulates, and as it accumulates, it becomes sadder. Like, individually, it's like, it's kind of weird. It's bad.
No, then it just becomes a huge humiliation for her. That's something that she's clearly had to, like, put up with for... Just one of the things that she's clearly had to put up with for a long time. So, yeah.
I remember what it was. I remember what I wanted to mention. So, I said this is mostly a mockumentary. It is mostly a mockumentary because there are a couple of scenes. The big one that sticks out to me is when they're in the basketball court or like the gymnasium or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's when he's like being predatory and like trying to get one of the documentary crew members, it sounds like, So, like, we're not supposed to believe anyone's filming then.
Right.
And so I'm like, oh, that's kind of bad. This is a first time filmmaker. And I guess, that kind of shows. Like, when you do a mockumentary, part of the rule is like, you gotta stick with cameras that could be feasible. Like, if you're going to do something like a fly on the wall, like you got to be hiding and under the bleachers or a security camera. Like, this is like a choreographed, like it's a regular movie all of a sudden, and I understand, but it's jarring. It doesn't feel right.
Yeah, it doesn't. You're absolutely right. That was a scene that I was thinking, and I was thinking about that while I was watching it. It's like, is this something we're really supposed to be seeing? Or are we now being led into something that is not going to be? This is not part of the mockumentary. Or the documentary, whatever.
Right.
This is part of the movie making for us to see that he actually is this kind of guy.
Yeah, it's part of the movie making us understand, but it doesn't feel like intentional. It feels like a cheat because it doesn't happen very often. And the only times it does is when it's like kind of story convenient. If they did like a half and a half and like made it stylized so you could distinctly tell
the difference.
Right now, it's a mockumentary, and then it's a slick, stylized looking. I mean, maybe that's what they were going for. If they were, it didn't go far enough. So it just kind of lands in this, like, it feels more like a cheat than a choice.
Yeah, I think we have to suspend belief on those kind of things, because even like when they were in their own home and when they were in their bedroom together, we also weren't supposed to see that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, all right. I could suspend belief in a zombie apocalypse movie, unlike you guys, but I can't suspend belief in a filmmaking choice that, like, you got it right around that. Like, if that's what's going to happen, like, you know, that's part of the structure, not the story. Well,
it's part of the story, not the structure. Like, it's part of the background of the story that we have to know. Otherwise, we don't really know if he's done any. It feels like the only time
I'm saying breaking from the mockumentary style.
Breaking from it. Oh, okay.
Betraying your filmmaking as opposed to betraying the internal logic of your story, which is what I don't have a problem with, but some guys you have a problem with, because you are unable to accept that as even feasible, that you cannot enjoy the fantasy world that is being crafted in front of you.
Yeah. Nope. I don't like convenience just because nothing exists about it, and so I can do whatever I want.
It's like someone said, what if this happened? And you said, well, that can't, so I will ignore all things in that realm, even though this is story time where we're supposed to explore and have fun and learn things about other things. But
what's happening
you just shut the door right in front of you.
That's a hard pass for me. Sorry. The thing is those moments in the movie where we're really not supposed to be privy to what's going on are the only times that there is actual evidence that, you know, he is the person that they're saying that he is. Otherwise, we don't know that. Like, if they didn't have those scenes, we wouldn't have any evidence whatsoever that he was predatory and that he, you know.
No, but that's why you got to be creative. You got to. Well, I know. You got to do the video, the security camera. You could have done security cameras where, like, he walks in and you see, like, a young guy sitting there and it's grainy, and we just see body language, and that could convey it. Like, you know, like, I know it's not the scene that they wanted that specific
but I'm
dialogue.
Curious, why did they let
the actors flex?
Yeah, I guess. But I mean, that was a choice. Was it sloppy, or was it just a choice?
It felt like a choice that maybe appeased actors, because they didn't want my big juicy scene where, like, I'm being predatory to be a weird little aside. I want to show off. I don't know. I don't know what I don't know what the choices were to go into this. It's produced by a lot of people, even though it's made by one singular person who
written and directed, right, by one person.
Written, directed, based on their book or play.
Right.
Yeah. So. But then it's produced by both Regina Hall and Sterling K, Daniel Kaluuya, that's another big name that you'll recognize, and also like 15 other people. So maybe there was influences outside of this. I don't know. I don't really know the reasoning, but it resulted in mediocrity, in my opinion.
Yeah, it wasn't the worst movie I've seen this year.
Absolutely not. Probably not even the worst this whatever week I watched this. So you're recommending Honk for Jesus, Save Your Soul?
I mean, maybe, yeah. I think a little bit. It's a very little bit. It's a very, very little bit, because I think it's just something just different enough to not be your regular, you know, whatever movie. So, watch it on whatever we watched it on. Don't watch it.
Yeah, don't go to the theater for this.
Yeah, don't go to the movies for this.
Especially because it's a mockumentary. Like, it would be like going to the theater to watch an episode of The Office. It makes no sense. Like,
yeah, don't do that. You're probably on the other side a little bit. You're a light not recommend.
I don't know. I mean, I stick with my 2.5, but I don't, and I don't. It's not really. Yeah, I don't really think you're going to get a lot out of this. I really do like that last. I like it's just because I like muttering. I don't think I don't think it's a universal.
That's a lot. It's a long way to go for some mutter.
I know. I really like that last shot of them empty church. Like, they did the whole movie. I just like that the whole movie ended with them. They got nowhere except we just watched them putter around being sad, and like that's you think we're gonna get somewhere, but then it's revealed to you, oh no, they were just pattering around and they were sad and they never got there. Like
sad and humiliated,
and they're bad people, so it's kind of fun to poke at them, you know. I'm not gonna recommend it though. Okay. I don't really know.
I'll give it a little bit. You give it a no.
All right, so there you go. Split decision on this show.
That's where we're at.
Yeah, so 2.5, 3 star-ish kind of thing.
Yeah.
In the meantime, what other things do we have? Theater stuff. Theater stuff's coming. I want to see The Woman. I think The Woman King might be next. Pearl, I think we're going to do, which is a sequel to a movie that came out earlier this year. So we're real excited to do that. We didn't A movie called X came out earlier this year. It came out in like, I don't know, April, May, something like that. And the director Ty West and the star Mia Goth in secret filmed another movie. And X did well, and Ty West and Mia Goth were like, oh, we got another one in the can. It's a prequel of this movie. It's coming out now. So there you go.
All right.
You're not going to see it. It's a horror movie, but it looks very good. It looks It looks throwbacky. It looks interesting.
No.
Yeah. It looks interesting.
Okay.
In the meantime, I guess, if you have things to recommend to us, we'll have slots coming up. Films with Women in My Life on Facebook. Reach out to me on Instagram. I'm Brennan_podhost. And you can email the show, filmswiththewomen@gmail.com.
That's right.
Thank you for being on, Mama K, for Honk for Jesus. Save your soul.
Amen.
That's very good. Till next time, this is Brennan signing off, saying thanks for listening and enjoy your movies.
Thanks for listening to Films with the Women in My Life. If you enjoyed being a listener in our life, please rate and subscribe on Apple Podcasts or on your favorite podcast app. Keep up with the latest from the show on Instagram at Brennan_podhost, on Facebook at Films with the Women in My Life, and on Twitter at FilmsWomenPod. Finally, you can email the show with questions and suggestions at filmswiththewomen@gmail.com. Original music for the show was created by Ian Burke and Chris Iwanek. Original artwork created by Nicole D'Alessio. This show is produced by Brennan Snyder. Thank you again for listening and enjoy your movies.